Anna Kendrick.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
I said you go by the name of Anna Kendrick, but I mean
That's a really weird way to put it.
Well, I think sometimes it's just like, you know what it was? I think I was listening to like some hip hop before you came out that go, you know, like people will say that I go by the name
of, yeah,
but then
and I am
that's
very hip hop. That's what people think of when they think of me.
That is the first thing I think of when I think of you. So welcome to the show.
Correct. Thank you so much.
I feel like this is it's not just like a welcome to the show, but it's welcome back to like an area that I feel has like a really special place in your heart, because Times Square, Broadway, like this was the beginning for you, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess I was mostly thinking about coming back and like, you know, no audience, whatever. That's sort of looser, and there's like a nice vibe to not having a live audience. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Times Square is well, this area is the first job that I ever had. I was going to say in New York, but the first job I ever had was was a Broadway show just down the street. I was 12. Yeah.
12.
Yeah, get your facts right. No, yeah. I was.
When did you get the Tony?
13.
When did you get the Tony?
It's possible that like I was nominated when I was 12, and then by the time the ceremony had happened, I turned 13 or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't remember
but
actually.
Still, I mean, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty young for all that noise.
Do you? Oh, yeah, that's actually a good question then. How did you avoid the child star trap then? How are you normal? Are you normal?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. But I feel like, actually, I was thinking about this recently, that I think theater, for better and potentially for worse, I'm not sure, theater like asks a lot more of its child actors. Like when you go on, I mean, you know, you've been on film sets, and you know that it's like, can we get you water? You know, there's a fawning,
it's a very pampered that's true.
Existence, and it's all it is all kind of fake, because they just don't trust you to not run off. Like, it's not that it's coming from a place of like genuinely we think you're so wonderful. It's just coming from a place of like, we don't trust you to go to the bathroom and not get lost, so we have to take you there. You know, that kind of thing. But I think when you're very young, you might actually internalize that as like, oh, I'm special, like I'm at the top of the pecking order. And when I was doing High Society when I was 12, there was a day that I kept forgetting my line, and like in front of everyone, the director was like, well, we're gonna cut that line if you forget it one more time. And I did, and they cut the line. So it was very like, okay, like,
that's the total
work
opposite
ethic.
of
Like, obviously that was maybe a little too humiliating, but generally speaking, it was just like, you're gonna be here, you're gonna rehearse all day, you know.
Do you miss it?
Yeah, every time I go and see a show, I'm just like, I'm so green with envy that like I'm not on stage, and it's just like such a magical experience.
But are you able to like totally shut up? So sometimes what happens to me is, if I'm watching a show, like let's say stand-up, I spend half the show thinking about like what I would have done, or like where I like the joke. I see it coming, I don't see it coming. Do you know what I mean? Do you have that when you go to Broadway? Are you just like, I wouldn't have done the note that way? Or
interesting. Well, but I do that with film too. You must do that with TV and
with TV? No,
you don't do that with TV and film.
I
with stand-up?
watch. Yeah, just with stand-up.
But so I end up doing that with film and television, and then with live theater. But I think, and I wonder if this is the same for you with stand-up, that the true test of like how great it is if that part of your brain shuts off. If you're not thinking about like, that's an interesting time to move the camera that way. Like, maybe on a steady cam? I don't know, that's a choice. But when you're just not thinking about that at all because you're so engrossed in the material,
so the same thing will happen with Broadway for you then. Okay, so when you're just like so engrossed. Let's talk about your show. Season 2, congratulations.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm so excited for people to see season 2, and I feel like it's a lot easier for me to talk about season 2.
Wait, what does that mean?
Because I'm not the lead of season 2 now, so I get to just be like, you guys, the show is so good.
wait.
So good.
So you're saying before you wouldn't want to talk about it because you were afraid that it's like, I'm so good?
I can't be like this, you know, of course I want people to see the show, and I think the show is good, but it's like a lot easier for me to just unabashedly be like, you guys, the show is so good. And William Jackson Harper from The Good Place is so great on this season. Like, it's unbelievable. And Jessica Williams is electrifying.
I've never seen you speak about yourself like this.
Well, that would be weird.
No, I don't think it would be weird. Sorry, there's a siren going by. It's Times Square. But like, no, I don't think that would be weird at all. I think, like, maybe, let me think. Maybe you should add like an S to your name, and then be like, it's Anna Kendrick who's in the show, and then you talk about her like that as well. Then you'd be like, Anna Kendrick is like, she's just phenomenal.
I would end up being like, Anna Kendrick is, you know, she's talented, but she's kind of a lot. I don't know, she's not for everyone.
But you know what I loved about this show is like, season 1 was, I will say this, it surprised me because it was like the nicest show on HBO Max. Let me start with that. So like a lot of the stuff on HBO Max is like Suicide Squad-y. You know what I mean? I love it. It's funny. It's dark. And then this was, I was like, is this going to be like is this dark? Is this, I was like, no, I was like, this is nice.
It's really nice.
I was like, oh, this is very friendly. I was not expecting that from HBO Max.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, it's a very kind of like approachable, friendly show.
Right.
And then it does get into some heavier stuff, but in a way where like you are laughing the entire time. There's an episode later in the season where like the three kind of guy friends end up on this camping trip, and that episode is, I think, my favorite episode because it really, really gets into the brutality of heartbreak, you know? But it's so funny. It's like three guys on mushrooms in the woods, and it's so funny, but you're still getting all of that like catharsis of watching somebody go like, God, like love is this fundamental human drive, and it just tears us apart. But you know, to be able to be like really laughing while you're exploring that is amazing.
I would love to know, before I let you go, you know, your character, Darby, we traveled through so much with her. You know, it was like this whole journey. It was like, oh, here we are. We got to relive moments of her life, obviously. And so it's like, you know, the young love, the new love, the getting married. Then it's like, oh, and then at the end of the season, it's like, oh, now here we are with her as a single mom. And it's just like a journey that she's been on. Have your ideas on love changed or been shaped by the show in any way? Is there something where the material has made you think like, huh, I wonder if I see love differently, or have you shaped the show because of how you see love?
Oh, that's really, well, yeah, that's really interesting because the first season, a couple of things happened. Like a lot of that first season was personal experience. And in fact, I was like, we have to change some of these details so that I don't get some angry phone calls. But there was one episode in particular that I like went to the creator when I got the script for this particular episode and was like, we need to change some more details. Like this is way too close to my real life. And he was like, we have not talked about this. This episode, we didn't consult you on this thing. And I was like, so actually the most close to my life was the thing that I didn't talk about. And that's the crazy thing about season 2.
Yes. Is
that I'm going like, it feels just as personal, and it like none of it's drawn from my actual life. And so it feels almost like, there was another thing where I had never had an experience quite like the one that Darby has. And then since the show has ended, I have had that experience. And, you know, so it's, like this kind of weird roadmap, or like sometimes it feels like the show is like my personal psychic or something. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's that, you know, that constant question of, is life imitating art, or is art imitating life?
That's probably why people love the show, because it connects with people. There are moments where you feel like you're watching a real show, if that makes sense. But it's just like, it's a show that connects. It's a show that makes you laugh. And then when it stops, you're like, oh yeah, I was watching a show. I wasn't just watching my friends. So that's what people love about it. Congratulations on season 2.
Thank you so much. I love that. Thank you.
It's going to be fun to watch. Season 2 of Love Life premieres on HBO Max on October 28th.